Welcome to Creators X, our collaboration here with Vulture. My name is Savannah Peterson. Very excited to be bringing our first guest from El Paso, Dana, to the show. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
I'm very excited to be chatting with you. You have quite a varying background, and I think this is relevant because I think there are a lot of industries right now wondering how AI and technology will impact their work. You come from a theater background. So talk to me a little bit about how technology is impacting the arts as you see it.
AI mimics the arts because it requires a lot of creativity and collaboration. So I think that I see AI as a form of art in a way.
I almost like that. You almost said like AI art.
AI art.
Yeah.
Which,
You heard it here first, folks.
And I know of artists today that are utilizing AI to generate fully realized visions that before may have just been trapped inside of them. So,
Yes.
they can get to a fully realized image that's a background to whatever their physical performance is, right? I think that, we're here at Human X. I believe in keeping humans in the loop as the person in charge of the tool that we've created. I don't ever want it to overrun us, but I think we're at such an interesting moment of human creativity that I see them working hand in hand.
Yes, it is an exciting time. What would be your advice to fellow creatives who are feeling a little bit nervous about what all these tools mean?
I mean, it's a brand new medium, right? So you can be intimidated by it, or you can get in there and play with it. People were scared of moving pictures and what that was going to do to the industry. And it opened up so much possibility, right? We went from radio to moving pictures, and we didn't have them matched together. So you had one or the other, and then they married them together. And, the innovation that's happened has only ever unlocked, I think, human creativity and the ability to use it.
Yes, I love that. We're just starting to figure it out. The paint's still wet. You can do whatever you want with the clay. The canvas is erasable, which I think is actually kind of new and interesting and very exciting. I love that you love to two-step. I think you might also be our first two-stepping fan on the show. We have some dancers. You are not alone in the dancer world, but I love the two-step. How long have you been two-stepping?
Since I moved to Texas, so that was about 4 or 5 years ago, I always danced. I did Irish step dancing growing up as a kid. And my favorite thing about two-stepping is that, I go to this place called Little Bit of Texas in El Paso, shout out. And and there are a few places you can go, like social houses these days, where you can just meet and have a purpose, and it's not just sitting there drinking and chatting, which was a favorite of mine. But to have, and dance is a language. It's a physical language. And I used to always lead because I'm in the middle of 3 girls, and I would just lead. And when we would dance, Polish dancing, polkaing. And so I had to learn how to, take different cues from my leader and be more malleable. So.
Ooh, I like that. As someone who is I'll just say a bit dominant and alpha, I can really relate to what
it was a practice, where I was like, you're wrong, but I have to listen or I'm going to collide. So, you just sort of let go. And then again, it's a collaboration. Like I might have a vision of where we're going to go next, but that's not where your partner is trying to drive you. And then he may think that's one turn, but I'm like, it's going to be 2.
I think that's a little bit like our AI journey as well.
Yeah.
You just gotta deal with the collab and see what happens. If Vulture was a style of dance, what style of dance would they be?
Something very efficient and accessible.
I like where you're going with this. You know far more about dance than I do, so take all the time you need. There's no clock here.
Just sort of that side to side sway in the club, but then maybe a little, a little crib walk maybe.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this. So they're like the stable, cool kids in the club that occasionally bust out.
You keep it
a little bit.
Yeah, you have some footwork.
A little bit of swagger.
Yeah.
What dance move would Synetic be now that we're here?
Oh goodness, Synetic would be new wave, right? It would
Oh,
be
yes.
something brand. I don't know what the kids are. Flossing is all like I have a child.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of. It's new. I can't do it, so I get lost in there.
Which is wild considering your incredible dance background.
Well, I didn't say I was good. I said I did it. So.
How old is your little one?
12.
What are the conversations like with them about AI?
It's interesting. I'm, of course, in AI, so I'm like, use the tools around you and figure out how to, control this thing or it controls you. And in school, they get a lot of don't use AI, don't use AI. So there's this negative connotation, I think, for them coming up. And I think that, I think that's the right approach. Children need to exercise the muscle of their brain and get to that state of reasoning where they can determine if that may be a hallucination or if I need to fact check that or, to be able to develop reasoning, I think is going to be the more critical role of the school system. But in addition to introducing them to the tools that they will need to utilize in order to have a cutting edge in the workforce.
It's a healthy tension. Mm-hmm. I understand where academia is coming from, and I do think that critical thinking muscle is absolutely vital.
Yeah.
There's also this incredible new way to learn things faster, which is...
I believe we can explore faster, but I wonder about retention. So I think we rely on the machine to remember for us. But if we're not, and it will, and it does, and it's doing a fantastic job, as I use my LLM and it learns me and the types of questions I've asked. But I do see a lot of, that recall of a fact, right? I'm like, I did this GPT thing or whatever, and I can't remember exactly, let me go find it, right? So I do think we have some retention issues, and it's through our ability to remember that we can create further, right?
Yes. I think it's one thing to read something, and it's an entirely different thing to be able to do something with it. So no, I think that's a really good point. Do you find that the conversation in El Paso around AI is similar to the conversations you have, say, at a show like this in San Francisco?
I mean, in the circles that I run in, there's high adoption for AI, because of just the circles that I run in. I think there's a lot of curiosity and fear. I know people who are copywriters, and there's a big fear there that job will be taken, right? And I think that without having things like a Waymo driving around where we're working and coexisting with AI, that hasn't necessarily found its way into El Paso. But I'm one of 9 people, I think, that gets a newspaper. And the title was like robots build building, and I was like, we feel like we're in the future, but it was news and it was kind of cute.
It is kind of.
I'm like, well, yeah, duh. I mean, we're gonna be here anyway, but
yeah, it is exciting. What's your advice for? I asked you about the creative specifically, but what about businesses or individuals who are looking at all the different tools that they can choose from, feeling a little bit overwhelmed? How are you quelling the noise and figuring out what to focus on personally?
I mean, I found my sweet spot in data, right? So for all of those ideas, for all of the AI that exists, they need data to power that, to train those models. So that's how I've focused my career is, let's stick to the fuel to the engines. I don't need to design the car, but I'm managing the fuel, and that feels pretty cool. I see synthetic data as a solution for so many different edge cases and unlocking creativity, but there will always be that need for real world data at the same time, because we do want to collect the world around us. Things like pathology and medical fields, we don't really understand every way that cancer behaves, so we want the real world data in order to
we're only
continue
just
to learn.
Starting to begin to, because of where machine learning is getting to and accelerating research. No, I think that's a great point. So staying there, what environments or use cases does synthetic data really sing? And where is it a little trickier to use something that isn't the existing data that we have in the real world?
Well, I mentioned medical because that was one of the bumps I ran into in sales. And that was the conversation that we had was, we still really need this real world data. We found a lot of success in ag tech, being able to render different crops. There was an autonomous weeding robot that wanted to go onto a new crop it hadn't seen yet, And instead of waiting a full growth cycle to go collect that data,
Right.
we were able to render all of the different variations they might see, different weeds, different this, and get them up and running on a new crop very quickly. So that
that's
was
exciting.
one of the benefits of synthetic data. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're taking that cycle really from a year probably to just a few weeks, maybe?
Few weeks, yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's super impressive. Where else do you think we might see that type of really significant time cut down?
Shameless pitch for Vulture, but in my presentation, I mean, we're able to deliver the data that we're able to deliver as quickly as we're able to deliver it, because something that would take 7 days for a typical GPU takes 6 hours for Vulture. So we found that unlocks a lot of our capability.
Yeah, I can think of a lot of things that I would like to be that dramatically faster. What do you hope AI does for you in your personal life?
Organization, like I want an agentic AI for my life where I just, I talk to my personal assistant and then it will schedule and it will do this and it'll organize all my notes. And when that meeting comes up, it'll find that note for me and make sure that I read it 10 minutes before the meeting. And, just streamlining a lot of the, I guess, the grunt work of being a human.
The grunt work, and even, I'm speaking for myself, not projecting on you, the nuance of that. There are certain ways that I take notes or certain things that I do that are sort of how I remember things in my brain, and if an agent knew exactly what those meant, it could categorically organize those in a way that other people could interact with.
Sort of streamline it. I mean, I still have my handwritten notes. That'll never go away. Like, there's something about putting pen to paper, and it's like my to-do list.
Literally handwritten.
Right,
Literally
exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember, I can see my own handwriting later. It's like
Same.
it adds to the visual because it's unique to you. So I still love being human, but if I can, type in something and have it read those notes for me later, maybe there's something there. So.
Well, I think there's a difference in changing your ritual and your practice. Like you, that's how I learn. If I write it down, there's 95% greater chance I can reference that or at least see it, to your point, later on. But you'll be able to translate that into something else that maybe is useful for others. Just because it's useful for us, who knows who? Our notes could be really valuable someday, Dana.
And, thinking about data privacy, we're so precious about our data, and we should be, because like I said, it's the fuel for everything else. But in some ways, releasing what you are comfortable releasing. I mean, we all sign plenty of things and we're like, take it,
right.
Take my information. I want this app,
Right.
And
I want this swag. Here's my email.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take my email, and now here I go again. But I do think that, in some ways we're all contributing to this greater hive mind of humanity so that we can continue to grow. I mean, just the internet giving us a place to speak globally, what that has unlocked. And then now we're thinking with computers, it's really impressive.
It is really impressive. That's a great note to end on. Dana, thank you for coming to chat with us today. And I hope we get to see some two-stepping moves on the show next time.
Yeah. I'll lead.
Yes, we will let you
Actually, we'll duke it out.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'll let you have it on the dance side of things. We hope you tell us all about your dance moves in the comments. We're here on Creators X for Vulture. My name's Savannah Peterson. Thanks for coming to learn with us.